podcast where two bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with Kate. I'm joined by my regular co-host, Mr.
Ben Errington.
And today we have a super special, extra special guest, a certain Mr. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's Jed Shepherd.
Hey, how's it going?
Guys. Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for asking me on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it seems like you've been on a lot of podcasts.
I have been on every podcast.
Yeah,
every single podcast. For host, and also like now it's kind of starting up again for my new project, Ghosts, which is a video game. So yeah, it's all starting again. But now I've got, as well as the film stuff, all of the video game kind of press coming to me as well. So it's good though. It's fun. It's good to be wanted.
So
everybody
bio
flocking
here.
to you.
Yeah. Read bio here. Jed Shepherd is the writer, exec producer of Host, 2020 Zoom Call, Horror Hit, and upcoming films from Blumhouse. He's also the writer, director of the upcoming real-time FMV game Ghosts. FMV stands for
full motion video.
I would have said it.
Right. Confused for a second. I thought I'd think about that whole.
Full motion video games, like there aren't many, like modern ones at all. Are there any? Obviously, Ghosts, but.
There's a couple that have been released actually by British companies in the last few years, but they're fine. They're fine. It's just I want to do a scary one. That's my thing. I used to love those games from the 90s, those Sega CD games. I just thought, okay, if I'm gonna do something like that, I want to make it my way, and I'm always trying to do things that are a little bit off kilter and a bit weirder and not what people expect. No one thought I'd make a live action video game, so I thought I'd try my luck. Never making a video game before, but
very exciting.
Just jump in. Yeah.
So it's the same team of actors from Host as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Hayley, Regina, Caroline, Gemma, and Emma.
Amazing.
I've got to admit, I don't think I've. So the references here are Night Trap, Phantasmagoria, and Seventh Guest. I don't think I ever played them. I don't know if I just didn't have. I never got around to it. Am I missing like something quite special there? Do you think?
I don't think you're missing too much, to be quite honest. They are interesting games historically, but they're not the best, most playable games.
Right.
And they kind of weren't executed in the best way. They weren't written by horror writers. They were written more by like a games company. So
yeah.
Wasn't Night Trap like ridiculously censored as well, to a degree where silly fit. If I remember right, I don't know if I've played it, but I think I've seen a lot of the footage. Is this where I'm going to get it totally wrong, but what are the weird like guns or sucky things? Is there something like that?
There are. It's basically about a group of teenagers, even though they're probably in their late 20s to 30s, in a house that's been invaded, and that's right. It ends up these things that are invading are actually vampires. It's very strange.
So the sucker things that go on the neck are like, they couldn't actually show fangs going into skin or blood or anything, could they?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that you were promised, like people believe that there was nudity in the game. That's why it was kind of popular and also banned. But there isn't anything like that. It's very, very, very tame.
Who started that rumor then? It was like it was obviously the game company that started that rumor.
Exactly. I think if you have a live action game, especially back in the days when there weren't too many live action games, because you didn't think it was possible in those systems, you would get like 16-bit games, and all of a sudden something's coming along like live action. It's very strange. So yeah, it's just part of the marketing really, and it's cool. And like now, I think technology's a little bit better, and no one's really done it. And I was just like, well, why has no one done it? Like, really missing a trick. So
one very unique thing about the game as well is that it can only be played at 10 p.m. Is that like on the release day? Is that correct, or is that just
correct? Yes, correct. Yeah. So it's like, because the conceit is you're the producer of a TV show that's going out live. So I want to put the player in the position of that producer. Like your show starts at 10 p.m. You have to be ready at 10 p.m. Because it's live. You can't pause it because it's a live show. So it really puts you in the position of this overworked, underpaid producer who has to make sure everything goes right for this TV show.
Like One Cut of the Dead, when he has that sort of slot and he has to make everything work.
Yeah, except for if you could only watch One Cut of the Dead at 10 p.m. every day.
Yeah.
So Vinny's like in the game, like it's live, but in real life it's live as well. And it's an event game, so people around the country will be playing it at the exact same time. So
cool.
Everyone's discovering things roughly at the same time, so no one can kind of spoil it for you.
Yeah.
On that day, at least, anyway. So yeah, it's just an interesting experiment, and just like with Host, I think it came out of nowhere and like took over the world.
So you're saying you weren't planning on making like the biggest movie of the internet in 2020? It wasn't on the to-do list.
Just got lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange, and again, the games world is quite hard to penetrate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not, and I obviously didn't study to be a game designer or a game maker. So I am just doing what I believe should be in a game, and I'm just making it as scary as possible. I'm thinking about the horror fans more than the gaming fans, because I want people to be genuinely scared of this, and they will be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've backed it. I think Ben has. How can people do it? Just go to Kickstarter and search for Ghosts, or
or follow me on Twitter at Jed Shepherd, and it's my pinned tweets. If you go along that particular thread, you find it. But yeah, it's we're only at the start of it. We're only 5 days in, I think, and it's doing really well. So if we keep this trajectory up, we're going to do very well. So fingers crossed.
It's very exciting, man. Very exciting.
So also Monsters by Trevor Henderson and the Jim Henson Creature Shop, which is there much you can tell us about that? Because I know I've seen the Long Lady mentioned on Twitter quite a lot.
Well, it's just like, because I'm writing, producing, and directing this, I just thought, okay, what are just the coolest things I could possibly have in this game? So I just got together just everyone who I love and who I think are cool. So if you want to go to someone to design a creature, you go to the number one creature person on the internet right now, which is Trevor Henderson, the creator of Siren Head. There is nobody else, literally nobody else. So went to him, I explained to him the Long Lady and the mythology behind her, and he came up with various different versions, and I picked the right one. And then I convinced Jim Henson's Creature Shop to make it.
I like how casually you say that.
Yeah, it's a dream come true, really. It's a really dream come true. And like, who else is the best at like building creatures? And
as them, also gonna mention Twitter again, but as I can see from Twitter, you're a huge fan of Labyrinth. So getting the Jim Henson Creature Shop involved must have been like a dream come true, right? Oh wait, there we go. Oh yes.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a big dream come true. Yeah, it's crazy, and like I almost forget that that all this cool stuff that's happening because I'm just so busy. But the just having them involved is just incredible, and it's not the last collaboration you'll see from me and them. That's all I can say about that. But
Labyrinth 2.
That's already in the works. Labyrinth 2 apparently. So
right, okay. I've read some of the graphic novels.
Nice, yes.
Yeah.
Which are really good, actually. Really good.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed them. Labyrinth 2. I don't know much about that actually, but I'll have a little look afterwards.
It's been announced that Scott Derrickson's directing. That's all that's been announced.
That's right, yeah. I think I've heard
cool.
that.
That's a good choice, I think.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Is Mr. Robert Cargill writing it, do you know?
Labyrinth 2, no, he isn't, no. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's someone else.
Cool. So, I mean, we'd ask you about your Blumhouse stuff, but I'm guessing you can't go into too much detail. But I did want to bring up Clubhouse, because I kind of, I didn't know too much about it. It's a new sort of social media app. Saw you tweet something about Joe Latrudio, who's one of my favorite people on the planet. So I jumped on it. It's really cool. It's like, I I guess it's like a podcast in real time in a way.
Yeah, I joined it the start of February, and that was kind of January, February was the time when everyone started to kind of join it really. And it's only on iOS at the moment. And yeah, it's just like 1,000 podcasts happening at once. So you just have to find the right room for your particular interests, and away you go. But when I first joined, there wasn't really a horror community. They're all spread out, and you go to a film room and they'd be talking about films. But I just thought there isn't a clubhouse specifically for horror. So, and I realized that, so I just created the horror clubhouse. Like literally, I own that clubhouse, and then yeah, just people flocked. So, you can create rooms under the horror banner. And every week on Thursdays we have a Clubhouse of Horror room where I have like the coolest people in horror come on. Like every single my co-host is Barbara Crampton, so which is handy. So every single week she just co-hosted with me. It was really cool. Along with Kimmy from a podcast called Nightmare on Film Street, and yeah, it's really cool. And literally every week some other regulars are Kelly Maroney, Catherine Mary Stewart from Night of the Comet, and also that means that's a Chopping Mall reunion with Kelly and Barbara there. Bonnie Aarons, who is the nun, the nun from the Nun movie.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
She's there every week. Gigi Saul Guerrero, who's just finished doing a Blumhouse movie. Who else? Just anyone you can think of. Oh, Fangoria are there every week. Nearly all of their staff are just in that room. Who else? Then you've got Blumhouse. Some people from Blumhouse are there every week. Yeah, it's just the access. The access is unbelievable.
You can just tune in and listen. Yeah, is that correct?
You can tune in and listen, or you can put your hand up and come up on stage. Yeah, it's crazy. So you can just talk to. It's like being at Comic-Con, but you can also get on stage yourself if you want to.
Yeah, it is cool.
Which everyone's always wanted to do.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah, that does sound great. So it's an app. So if anyone's interested in that, it's an app on iOS you can download and
yeah.
And just horror. Is that right? Just horror in Clubhouse? Is that
no? Just my Clubhouse is all about horror, but any subject.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on there. But yeah, mine's specific to horror. There are other horror clubhouses as well that have sprung up, but they're more specific.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're different. That's all I'll say.
They're different. Yeah.
My one gets the stars.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how much more drilling we want to do to Jed. I hope you don't mind us drilling you there. You're full of cool stuff that we want to hear more about. So yeah. So I guess, has anybody seen any sort of cool horror news or anything? I mean, the thing that I just saw before we jumped on was a trailer for Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Did you see it, Jed?
No, I know that came up today. I haven't watched it yet.
It's the best trailer. One of the best trailers I've ever seen. It looks really fun. It's super fun.
It does look really fun. I think, Luke, you did a little critique I saw, which was basically saying it hits all the beats of what a modern movie trailer not necessarily should do, but what a modern...
Well, it's almost like the person who edited it
starts with a light
AI. It's so on point.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. So like machine guns matching to drums and titles. Lighthearted song gets angry and then gets lighthearted again. But yeah, Dave Bautista, I'm absolutely I love the man. So I'm so hyped to see him in this, and obviously Dawn of the Dead remake, which we covered only a few weeks ago. So we've watched that. Zack Snyder doing zombies is always a good time. Well, it was a good time that time. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a Ghost of Marzi sort of vibe to it. I noticed that. I think was quite surprising.
There sure was. I mean, if you want to avoid the trailer, because there's probably a few key parts of it which make it kind of unique in terms of being a zombie movie. So if any fans of zombie movies want to avoid it, because in the trailer it does kind of give a few things away. But yeah, it looks great. And it's like a zombie apocalypse where the zombie apocalypse is contained as well, not just taking over the whole world. is contained in Las Vegas. So again, a really great concept, and I'm really interested to see how it comes out. So that's out on May the 21st on Netflix as well.
Sweet.
So, yeah,
I'm excited. Is there any other news popping up, Ben?
Very excited. A couple of news bits. I did want to mention this, especially with Jed on the show, is that WrestleMania happened the weekend just gone. Don't know if either of you have seen any of it, because obviously I don't want to hit spoilers, but I know that Jed has got some thoughts regarding a certain character called The Fiend, who got an inclusion at WrestleMania, and Tom Savini did some more stuff with masks and effects at the show. And I know you were interested before because you mentioned you wanted to write like an arc for The Fiend. And you had some thoughts regarding that. And he's been away for a while, and now he's sort of come back.
It's just funny. When Host came out, all of these professional wrestlers just DM'd me, like literally all of them were just like, "Hey, we watched Host, and we're big fans of yours." And I'm like, "What?" And the Fiend was one of the big ones who just like, "I'm telling everyone about it. I've told everyone about it. We need to work together." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, okay." I was only kind of, I watch wrestling sometimes, but like not a lot. But like after speaking to the Fiend, like it made me kind of like watch it a little bit.
Yeah.
So Bray DM'd you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
not just
man.
all the time. No, like
this is cool.
I'm mates with a whole bunch of them now, and like not just in WWE, in other because for some reason like wrestlers love Host, like all of them, like and AEW as well. Some of those wrestlers from that federation. It's crazy, and I'd love the stuff that they do when they try and do horror stuff as well. It's just really interesting to me. So yeah, I would write like a storyline for multiple characters and like weird stuff, and obviously for specific horror characters as well.
Yeah. But yeah, at WrestleMania the past weekend, it was kind of the end of a feud between Bray Wyatt's The Fiend and Randy Orton, and Alexa Bliss played a big part, and they had like a huge like Jack in the Box outside the ring.
I didn't even know this. Okay, that's cool.
Okay. I won't spoil any results, but there's a particular moment of Alexa Bliss where she goes through a transformation of sorts.
Oh, does she turn into a puppet? Does she do the puppet?
She doesn't turn into a puppet.
No, okay,
but,
right.
There is like a puppet on Monday Night Raw, like last night.
Right. Okay.
So it seems like they're still going to continue with this. It was almost like, I don't know if you guys saw The Fiend when he returned, and he looked super like a horror character, even more so than usual. Like he was all burnt and disfigured with the mask on.
Yeah.
He was
telling me about that. He was telling me about but I haven't actually watched his return, but he was telling me about what he was going to do.
Oh, this is sick. Because he's quite he doesn't post all that much on social media. He's not got a huge social media presence, so that's pretty cool to know that he's reached out to you.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of followers though.
Oh yeah. I just mean in terms of he's not very open, and it's not like a lot of wrestlers will just completely forget kayfabe and be like themselves.
Yeah.
On Twitter, where it seems like he is quite sort of reserved in terms of that.
Yeah, exactly. He's just a big fan of horror movies in general, and he tries to bring some of that love into his character.
Well, the fact that he pretty much like reinvented himself.
Yeah.
Which is like super, super exciting. But I thought I'd mention that just because of the fact that Tom Savini and his team were involved again, bringing all this stuff. It's just super cool that they can do that for like the biggest night of sports entertainment of the year.
Yeah, like I'm just looking back at like some of the conversations that me and Bray have had, and he's done a list. He gave me a list of his favorite fan footage movies, and he rated it from 0 to 5. Like he's just a massive fan footage fan. Massive.
Have you ever thought about trying to get Bray Wyatt on a podcast or on Clubhouse?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, it's quite hard to get people on Clubhouse just because it's a whole deal. You have to download an app, and then
okay.
And also like if you're famous, to do it like a talk like that, most of the times you get paid. So like,
Yeah.
that's kind of sometimes why these people might not want to do it. But yeah, like I can see the last conversation I had with him. He's just like, he was just really pushing for me with WWE to get them to let me write some stuff in.
Oh my god, that would be absolutely outstanding. And I'd never stop DMing you. I'd be DMing you every second. That's cool. I mean, I wanted to bring it up because I saw you'd mentioned The Fiend a few times, but I had absolutely no idea that you guys were talking like that. So that is amazing.
Not just him, like lots of wrestlers. Like again, I don't know why this little British movie went so big and just like for some reason just wrestlers love it. Like it's crazy because it's not like it's a gory movie or anything, but like it's just Bray was one of the ones who's like spread the word the most, I think, among that community.
Yeah. Well, obviously in WWE there's always been like a horror element to it with various characters throughout the years. So
yeah,
if you write yourself onto the stage, into the ring.
I do that.
Vince McMahon.
That's the first thing you're gonna have to do.
I wouldn't mind being like coming out as a Paul Bearer type person, like a manager, to be like, "Oh, Bray."
That'd be great. That really would be great. Yeah, massive fan of Bray Wyatt the Fiend. Big fan of guys like Aleister Black as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got like sort of that sort of horror persona as well, sort of cult leader, occult imagery and stuff. So yeah, that's super cool. It's been a great episode so far. It really has. What else in terms of news that I've seen this week? I saw that the Grady Hendrix novel, My Best Friend's Exorcism, is getting a movie adaptation with Elsie Fisher starring. She's in a movie called Eighth Grade.
Very cool.
Who directed Eighth Grade?
Bill Burnham.
Bo Burnham, that's right.
Yeah,
I knew. Oh, yeah,
wow.
It's that guy. That's
nice,
insane.
Yeah. I've interviewed Grady Hendrix weirdly at Comic-Con like a couple of times because I host stages at London Comic-Con, and Grady's really, really cool, and like he's had a bunch of his books turned into feature films now. Yeah, so
are they making a feature film? What's the one he did, which is looks like a IKEA catalog?
Horror Store.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
He had a film that he's just written direct films as well, hasn't he? He's not just written books. There was that. I can't remember what it's called now.
He did Satanic Panic. He wrote Satanic Panic. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it's been directed by Damon Thomas, who directed Penny Dreadful. And yeah, apart from that, I think it's just being made into a feature with a script written by Jenna Lamia, who's also an associate producer. So that'd be exciting. I really love the book. It's the only Grady Hendrix book I've read, actually, so I would like to pick up the other ones. But yeah, I think that would be awesome. That would make a great movie. The only other bit of horror news that I highlighted here was that the fourth movie in the Purge franchise, the Forever Purge, is going to be released in July. I've never actually seen any of these, sorry, but I thought I'd mention them.
You've never seen any
I've never seen any. I know, I don't know what's going on. Blind Spot.
They're great. They are great. Like, well, especially the first one at least. And they did a TV show that was decent as well. Yeah, it's pretty good, and I think it's quite lucrative for Blumhouse, so they just keep pumping them out.
Yeah, they always seem to do really well, like really popular, and so was it the fourth movie? Maybe I'll check some of them out then. If some more of them are, I'm sure some of them are on Netflix, aren't they?
We should do the first one at some point on the podcast. It'd be worth watching.
Yeah, exactly. But that's all I've got for horror news. Is there anything in particular that's being released this year that you're excited for, Jed?
Yeah, there's a film by a writer-director called Josh Rubin called Werewolves Within.
Yeah, I love scare movies.
Yeah.
Devin the Troll is one of my favorite recent horror creations.
Yeah, Josh is the best. Like, he's become a mate over since like for the last 6 months. Like, really, really cool. He's just got some skills, man. He's just the nicest guy. So I can't wait for Werewolves Within, and like he mentions it on Twitter quite a lot, but he really wants to reboot Darkman,
Okay.
and
Oh yes.
like a lot of people do, but but every time I speak to him, I'm just like, Josh, you need to like definitely do not as a joke, just do Darkman. But obviously you need Sam Raimi's permission, so I'm trying to put a good word in for
Yeah,
him.
of course.
Yeah.
Oh I suppose you can't tell us anything about the Sam Raimi project. Can you tell us?
Just that we've been working on it for a long time, like way before Host. And yeah, it's just very, very, very cool, fun, exciting. Feels like a Sam Raimi film. But
Is it true that he saw Salt?
He saw Salt, yeah.
Yeah.
And he basically wanted a feature-length version of Salt. But we had another idea for him specifically, so we came up with this idea, and he loved it, and yeah, we're making it, and I hopefully we start it at the end of this year. That's my hope. That's what everyone wants to do, so hopefully it pans out that way. But yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, that's super, super exciting. I suppose he's he's doing Doctor Strange right now, isn't he?
He's doing Doctor Strange right now. Yeah, he is. Yeah, but like he's been great, and like all through lockdown, we've been like Zooming, and just being able to like speak to Sam Raimi all the time has been like incredible. And they like his love for horror movies is still like, it still feels like he probably the first day when he did Evil Dead, like he's probably still the exact same person now. He hasn't changed. He still gets excited by like fun horror set pieces, and like he giggles like a kid when like something funny or gross happens. Like he's just really cool, really inspirational. So, and he's like my favorite director as well. So it's really cool to be able to work with him, and just it's obviously being from the UK, it's actually really rare. Like you never really hear of British filmmakers getting to like do stuff with Sam Raimi. So, I mean, actually, tell a lie. There's been a couple recently, but yeah, it's kind of rare, and it feels like a pipe dream, but like it's luckily happening. Yeah.
I'm also like really, really excited to see Sam Raimi working within the Marvel universe. Like, I'm so excited to see what he brings to that, that Strange movie.
Oh, it's going to be the best. It's going to be the absolute best, and the things that have leaked out from it, and obviously, of course, I've like quizzed him about it, and like. But then, like, because like he's so excited, like he starts to tell, and he said, "No, I can't say." And I'm like, but like, well, obviously, like the first thing I asked him is like, "Sam, you are putting Bruce Campbell in it, aren't you? You are putting Bruce in it. You are doing an Evil Dead crossover thing with it, aren't you?" He's like, "I can't say." And then Bruce Campbell, like, a couple of weeks ago, announced,
yeah.
Oh my god. Of course he was going to do that. Of course. So it's. To me, it's already going to be my favorite Marvel movie. I can tell, just because just Sam will just make it so much fun, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Definitely can't wait for that. Yeah. But that is pretty much all I've got for horror news this week. So has anyone been watching anything over the last 7 days? If you've had time, Jed.
Shall I tell you what I watch a lot of, and I have absolutely no idea why, and I'm kind of obsessed. I guess it's definitely not horror, but it's Ink Master. Do you ever watch Ink Master?
Oh, Ink.
No.
Is that
the tattoo reality show?
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm obsessed with that.
Dave Navarro.
Dave Navarro, yeah.
Okay.
And well, I've never had a tattoo, so I'm no tattoo expert, but now I'm such an expert in tattoos. Like I can see a tattoo and I'll know exactly what's wrong with it. And I'm just like, oh, line work's bad there. Oh, the colour she's bad there.
Tattoo snob.
I'm the same with like drag race makeup jobs. I can tell now exactly what's a good outfit and what's not.
Oh yeah.
All that lip sync didn't go quite right.
Well, the shape of those eyebrows is completely.
Yeah.
She needs to beat it. Needs to beat that face.
Exactly. Oh, that tuck wasn't quite. Yeah.
Yeah.
That for some reason, reality shows is a real good palate cleanser when you after doing like writing horror or something. Like it's good to just do something or have something on in the background. That's kind of like insane.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think you need something like that going on all the time, whether you just to cleanse the palate and sometimes just have something on in the background, isn't it, that you're not particularly.
Ink Masters and Drag Race, they're just like fun, like it's like popcorn basically.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got that, mine is Catfish, MTV's Catfish.
Oh, Catfish is great.
See, I've already seen every single episode of Catfish.
Yeah. I think I have as well. Yeah.
It's like if you have MTV, it's just like on all the time.
Yeah. It's just a drama. I just live for it. I live for the drama, even when it is not a very interesting story. I'm just still there, and my heart is pounding at the reveal every single time, no matter what. And I love Cammy.
Yeah, I love it when it's a reveal and it's just like a bolshy guy who's just like, I don't care if I've catfished you.
Yeah,
fell for my trick, and then
a guy like that turns up like once every 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah,
like, what's going on?
What was that one? There was like a really crazy guy who was trying to catch. He was catfishing this other guy, and then it turned out that he was doing it on purpose or something. But then the host said, well, "Do you fancy him?" And he goes, "Well, I guess I must do." Like he sort of his whole reasoning was sort of melting in real time.
Well, they had one where it was a guy was catfishing another guy, pretend to be a girl, and then in like the next series, that catfish was being catfished himself by someone else.
I love it when they pop up again.
Yeah.
Sometimes the same catfish pops up for a different person. That is mad. Yeah, I love it though. It's and I kind of wasn't sure it was going to work like on Zoom. I was a bit like, I don't know if this is going to kind of.
It was the new series on Zoom. I never knew that.
Yeah. Well, sort of like in the middle, whatever the last series was, sort of right in the middle of it, they did like a big chunk just all on Zoom. But it definitely worked, especially when you're waiting for the catfish to like appear in the call.
Yeah.
And then it goes to an advert just as they do, and it's like shit.
In terms of horror, I've been watching M. Night's Servant on Apple TV.
Is it good?
Oh yeah.
I like it, but I just like being in that world they've created. But like it's really a real slow burn. Mm-hmm. They're only 22 minute episodes, so they're really quick, but it's real slow. It's really, really slow, and it's like 2 seasons in now, and it's barely anything's happened. But I do like being in that world. Those characters are interesting. It's weird.
Who's in that? Is it Domhnall Gleeson? Is he?
No.
No, Rupert Grint.
Rupert Grint's in it. He's
right. I'm just gone for
some reason. That's what I've said his Harry Potter character name instead. Rupert Grint. That's not a real name, is it?
He's good in it. He just plays like a weirdly like a grizzled like miserable guy, and he does it really well. He does it really well for an alcoholic. It's definitely worth a watch. And then what else do I watch? Oh, that's about it, I think. It's reality shows and Servant, really.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
It's pretty much all you need, yeah. It's already got one mention on this podcast, but I watched Ghosts of Mars this week.
Oh, yeah?
So I thought I'd watch a couple of John Carpenter films, a couple of the more modern ones, but, late 90s, early 2000s. I watched this. I watched Vampires as well.
Oh, yeah.
And both I've got kind of fond memories of. But I enjoyed Vampires this time around a lot more than I kind of thought I would. But in terms of Ghosts of Mars, this cast is off the chain.
Yeah.
Natasha Henstridge, Ice Cube, Jason Statham, Pam Grier. It is utterly insane. It doesn't quite feel like a Carpenter film though, this one, for some reason. Something about it. I think it might be the soundtrack. The soundtrack's like, so I looked at the soundtrack. It's Anthrax, Buckethead. It's kind of insane. But Pam Grier dies first and off screen, which I was fuming about.
It's weird, right? Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, very weird. It's just a very weird film. And Jason Statham, every interaction he has with anyone is basically the way he talks to everyone is like he wants to fuck them, and he wants to fuck them pretty much right now. And it's like, what's going on? Is he all right? He's got hair as well. This Jason Statham. So this is
Cheryl Lee's in it, right?
Hair in the sense that we've got hair, right? Like it's not full. It's not real hair.
It's not full head hair.
Is Cheryl Lee in it? Cheryl Lee's in it, right? Yeah, yeah.
No, it's vampires.
She's
wait.
in vampires.
Vampires, yeah.
Yeah. She's in vampires. So vampires. The first two scenes have like stuck in my head because I saw it so many times when I was growing up. And I think the first two scenes are better than the rest of the film. Cheryl Lee is great. James Woods and Daniel Baldwin probably not so much.
Yeah.
I do kind of like, it's like this horror western, dust storm, blood-stained. It's fun, and it feels more like a Carpenter film, and I do quite like it. But yeah, I wasn't totally blown away this time, but still.
Yeah. I've got fond memories. I remember the opening to Vampires being pretty brutal, right? Like it opens quite at a 10.
I mean, the world that they sort of build with this these vampire hunters who are funded by the Vatican. Yeah. And there's like a ancient conspiracy, and they've got all this gear. I mean, one good thing they've got like a crossbow, which has got like a wire attached to the winch of a jeep, so that when James Woods fires the crossbow in someone, Daniel Baldwin immediately turns the winch on, and they get dragged out into the sunlight. That's cool. And these vampires are brutal. Like the main vampire dude is just putting his arm through people's torsos, left, right, and center. It's just so, it's just great. It kind of establishes all the characters though, and all their roles within the group, and then just kills them all.
Yeah, I like that.
In the first scene. Yeah, I like it. Cheryl Lee is outstanding. Like,
she always is.
The best. Yeah, she is great. Just her face as she's succumbing to the bloodlust. I'm with her every step of the way. I'm just like there.
Yeah.
Daniel Baldwin is just an absolute douche in this film. But,
yeah.
It's good though. It's good to a degree. It's enjoyable. It's watchable. But there's
it's not
only
the level of Carpenter's earlier stuff, of course. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff.
It doesn't. It's a completely new era, and I need to watch that. And I do need to watch Carpenter's last film, which was The Ward, which I've definitely seen, but not for a long time. So I need to.
I've seen it a bunch of times actually. And then actually relatively recently, just before lockdown, the Prince Charles Cinema in London was showing it, so I went to watch it then again, and it's fine. Yeah, and I know the writers of that as well, so I think I'm a little bit biased. That's why I've watched it a couple of times, just to it's actually the same people that wrote bizarrely that wrote the Croc movie.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at Crawl.
Crawl.
Sam Raimi's involved in that.
Yeah,
it all comes full circle, Jed.
Everything comes back to Sam. Yeah,
it sure does. That's cool. So a couple of degrees of separation, and John Carpenter.
Yes,
you're gonna be Zoom calling John soon.
Oh, I'd love to. But like, there was a Masters of Horror Zoom call with all of those old school guys like Carpenter, John Landis, Mick Garris, Dante, and Mick Garris, to his credit, because he's come on my podcast, I've been on his podcast. Like, he started mentioning Host, and like they'd all seen it except for John Carpenter, and John Carpenter's should I watch Host? And they were like, yeah, you need to watch Host. And like I was watching it live, and I was like, oh my god, this is insane.
That is insane.
It's just insane.
That is insane. Yeah.
But yeah, it's very cool, and like those kind of old school like horror masters. Like,
so everyone else has seen it. So John Landis has seen it.
Yeah, I think everyone had seen it, but John Carpenter. Yeah. Dante had seen it. Yeah, Landis had seen it. And there's a whole bunch of other horror classic people. I forget who else was there, but yeah, it's very cool.
That is very cool.
It's cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything, Luke, this week?
Yeah, I saw a couple of things. For our film night in the Hawk and Clue Facebook group, we watched the Monster Squad. Monster Squad even. Monster Squad is something different. I watched that as well. Wasn't as good. Monster Squad, which is the Black and Decker film. Shane Black and Fred Decker.
Mhm.
Just a classic. You watched it quite recently, didn't you, Ben? Did you show it to Megan?
Yeah, so my 10-year-old daughter watched it with me and she checked out as soon as the Wolfman turned up. She was like, "No,
Yeah,
I can't watch this." And it is quite a terrifying transformation and a terrifying Wolfman.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, though. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It is a
I've
great
seen
movie.
it in Prince Charles Cinema not too long ago when they had the whole, well, not the whole, yeah, they had most of the cast back for a Q&A. It was so cool. Really, really good.
I wish I was
Yeah.
closer to the Prince Charles Cinema because I really want to go.
There's some real cool stuff there. Yeah, I can't wait till they come back. And also the Genesis Cinema in East London is brilliant. They do stuff like that as well. Yeah, just can't wait for cinema to be back.
Yeah, we haven't got a date in the UK yet, have we? When cinemas are going to be back?
Yeah, it's like May 14th.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Yeah, it's like exactly 1 month away or something like that.
I'm just waiting for the email from Odeon. They keep me in the loop with this kind of thing.
There you go, Luke. We were going to tell everyone, but we thought we'd tell you first. We're back.
Yeah.
Do you have an Odeon card?
I do. Yeah.
See, because I've got a Cineworld card, a Genesis card, a Prince Charles one. Yeah, so I've got Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering ones. No, so I can. It's only because like I just want to be able to just go wherever, and I've got the Cineworld card means they're everywhere, so I can just rock up to a cinema and watch anything. But yeah, I just can't wait. I'm just so used to watching so many films like in the cinema, and now I haven't watched film in cinema for a little probably since Halloween, and that was Host.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where was the host screening?
So they released it between the first and second lockdown. They released it in limited cinema, so it was Prince Charles Cinema, a few up north, the BFI, some other places, and then lockdown happened again. And then when it reopened again just before Halloween, it was released in over 150 cinemas nationwide for Halloween and the day before and the day after. So yeah, just everywhere really. And then but it's been around the world. It's been in cinemas around the world, like Japan and Russia and all those places.
I saw all the different posters like from around the world as well. I mean that is so cool. That is super cool.
Very cool, yeah.
So how many times did you see it on the big screen?
Me, we did I think 4 performances at Prince Charles Cinema, and I think I did all of them and the Q&As and intros and stuff. We saw it at the Genesis Cinema. We saw it at the BFI 3 times. So I've probably seen it like 8 or 9 times in the cinema.
What was it like to have like an audience reacting to it?
Good, really good.
You sit there as well.
Yeah, and it was always like me and like some of the girls from Host as well. So yeah, it was because it's so short. It's just a real quick experience. But I feel like it is more of the laughs are played up in the cinema because when you hear one person laugh, you all laugh at the same time. So it's more of a group experience. I think it's less scary in the cinema, to be honest. It's more scary watching it at home by yourself, but you get the communal spirit of like the uncomfortable like silences and people laughing. It's just really cool. And everyone, when it ends, like everyone's like has a laugh because they can kind of breathe.
Yeah. Obviously, I won't
Yeah.
mention the moment, but a particular moment. What was the most extreme reaction that you saw in cinemas to that? I'm screaming, people leaping out their seats, urinating.
In the Prince Charles Cinema, there was one guy who literally leapt out of his seat. I'm trying to think of what point that was. I can't remember, but yeah, there was one point. Oh, I think it was just maybe when Teddy meets his demise, something happens there, like he just leapt out of his seat. But yeah, it's everyone has their own different favorite bit, and it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
anything else, Luke? Or is that
yeah,
it?
one last thing I watched that I think I really would like to mention is the Empty Man, which
Not
kind
seen
of
it yet.
yeah,
I've not seen
I
it yet
didn't
either.
know much about it at all. And then I saw Chris Stuckman, his YouTube channel, was talking about how it deserves a cult following. I think it it kind of got lost in the milieu of stuff when it first came out, so no one really watched it. And on the face of it, it feels like it's going to be a kind of Slender Man sort of creepypasta type of film. But and it is that, but it's also but it's a lot weirder, and it's got some super creepy moments. And it was based on a comic book written by Cullen Bunn, who's kind of like the go-to horror comic book dude at the minute. But yeah, I really recommend it. I was surprised by how much I got into it, and this one scare, it scared me more than I've seen a lot of stuff recently, but that scared me more than most.
Okay.
So I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I need to watch it. Like everyone's talking about it like an underrated
Yeah,
movie, so I definitely will.
yeah.
Is it a recent release? Yeah, it came out this year.
I
I think so.
don't actually even know when it came out. I mean, it's not on all the streaming platforms. It's like only on YouTube and paid for. But I don't know when it came out. It just slipped out. No one noticed.
Relatively recently, like last month, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think I saw the poster and maybe like just read a tagline. I was a bit like, well, I kind of know what I'm getting myself in for with that. And then suddenly the reaction to it has been completely different. So I'm
Yeah.
it's definitely on the list. So I will be checking it out at some point
Cool.
very soon.
You should. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. And then I watched a little film from 1986 called From Beyond.
Hey.
Oh, you did you?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So From Beyond is a 1986 American science fiction body horror film directed by Stuart Gordon, loosely based on the short story of the same name by H.P. Lovecraft. It stars Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Ken Foree, Ted Sorel. I'm probably butchering everyone's names today. Sorry, guys. A group of scientists have developed the Resonator, a machine which allows whoever is within range to see beyond normal perceptible reality. But when the experiment succeeds, they are immediately attacked by terrible life forms.
These terrible life forms. And you call yourself life forms. It's got 6.7 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes score is 76 for the critics, 70 for the audience.
Not
Letterboxd
bad.
is at 3.6.
Wow.
Some choice reviews from Letterboxd. They've got Luke B put Resonator. I hardly knew her. 5 stars.
Nice.
Keith Wee put my pineal gland does this too. What's the big deal? 1 star. So he wasn't a fan. So Marth G put that was repulsive. I love it. 5 stars. Wiggum, Police Chief Wiggum put I'm keeping my third eye shut. Thank you very much and goodbye. 0.5 star.
Yeah.
And then this last one I saw was EB who put if only there was an award for the most practical effects. 1.5 stars.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Yes, it's pretty divisive in some ways.
1.5 stars for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's become a real cult classic, in a way that, and I think it's a lot to do with Barbara Crampton's renaissance. To be quite honest, like the last 4 or 5 years, Barbara Crampton's just almost come out of nowhere, and she's like the go-to person of a certain age. If you want a person of a certain age in your film, like basically above 40, you go to Barbara Crampton because she already has an inbuilt audience, and with that comes just the love for her back catalogue, and like From Beyond is that and Reanimator is like the 2 of the films that people love the most from Barbara.
Yeah. That go on, Ben.
I was going to say, how many Stuart Gordon films has Barbara Crampton been in? Because she's in Castle Freak as well, isn't she?
Yeah, a few, Castle Freak, Reanimator, but I think she's been in a few. Yeah, well, she's been in more H.P. Lovecraft films, based films than she has Stuart Gordon movies, because she's a producer now as well, so she's still looking at those types of stories, H.P. Lovecraft stories, and she's in the process of making some, and throughout the year she's made a whole bunch of them.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, there's like when I think about this kind of movie, like an 80s practical gore, kind of oozy, slightly dirty, makes you feel a bit sort of tainted inside. This is like exactly the kind of film that you want that to be. And it's like that kind of Stuart Gordon Yuzna kind of magic, that there's a certain flavour to that I don't think we get anymore. It just works so well.
Yeah, Brian Yuzna, like, he's so underrated as well. Like, he did Society, and like, that's a film you guys should discuss as well, because
of course,
just the gross out effects from that movie is just brilliant. Just don't see it coming. When with this, you do see the kind of the gross stuff coming, kind of, but like, yeah, with Society, it just comes out of nowhere, and it's just utterly absurd. But yeah, like, so what did you guys think about this film?
Well, I've seen it before. Ben, it's your first time, right?
This is my first time watching From Beyond. Yeah.
Do you feel clean?
Do I feel clean? I mean, I love the bright pinks and the neon soap colors and everything like that. And the practical effects were great as well. And I was a big fan of I'm a big fan of Reanimator, so to see familiar faces as well was great. Yeah, and I did really enjoy it. I thought it was great.
Cool. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So who we got? We got Jeffrey Combs, who he puts a lot of movement. To put this,
he really hams it up, doesn't he? Yeah. It's almost sometimes like it's sometimes like he's in a different film than everyone else. He's just in his own like biopic, and he's really hamming it up, while like Barbara's just playing it, because like Barbara comes from the soap world, and you think she'd be the one to ham it up, but she's being relatively straight, while Jeffrey's just like playing this like kind of Frankenstein type scientist who's on the brink of like discovering stuff.
He's frantic from with the word go. He is frantic.
Yeah. His lips. There's so much acting going on in his lips, more so than I think anyone else on screen.
Like he's eating something really hot, and he's just taking a bite of a really hot sausage roll. He's like, commendable. Yeah, and then we got Barbara Crampton as Dr. Catherine McMichaels, and she goes through like a transformation of her own in this movie as well. While a lot of people go through transformations of the physical sense, and turning from human into quite unsightly beings, Barbara Crampton goes through a completely different transformation. And who else have we got? Ted? Is it Ted Sorel? Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah,
glorious. I think it's amazing how slimy that guy looks before he turned into a cosmic.
Yeah. He's slimy before. How hairy are this guy's shoulders?
I noticed that.
My mind is
I was
blown.
like, I can't say anything.
Also, like,
hairy shoulders.
I'm hairy everywhere but the head, mate.
But like, if you didn't think he was slimy before, like, they just showed you his like the porn films he used to make, the homemade porn films he used to make as well, just to hammer home that this guy's a real creep. But yeah, like, it's really well casted.
No kink shaming here. I mean,
and he's got a kimono.
If you're into hairy shoulders,
like
then that's
greasy
fine.
Kimono. Yeah, it's not even got the belt tied. It's just hanging on by his hair.
As soon as he emerged in a kimono, I immediately didn't take him seriously as a scientist. I was like,
did you notice? Yeah. Did you notice that people weren't looking down when he was in his kimono? I don't think that thing was tied together.
Oh,
no, it was not. They were like, flowing free there. Your pineal gland is just completely on show for everybody. Let's stop my pineal gland, actually. I'm gonna fin.
Yeah. There's Ken Foree as well. And it is Bubba Brownlee. I don't know what his job is. He's like
he tells you
enforcer or something.
He's a policeman. What does he do?
When he first shakes hands with Jeffrey, Dr. Crawford, he shakes his hand and then gives him his entire life story. Yeah. Hi, my name is Bubba Brownlee. Friends call me Bubba. I used to be in the army. I was part of this division who went to Nam and did this and blah blah blah. And all the while, Barbara Crampton standing next to him, going, "No, no, I'm the doctor. That's the patient." But yeah, just really weird writing. Like,
Yeah.
like he's not meant to. You just give all the entire character's backstory in the first handshake. That's just lazy. But
had it ready to go. He almost seems like he's in a different film.
yeah.
And I know obviously in terms of this film, it's quite a sexy film. This is, but not just Barbara Crampton. I think we do have to mention Ken and his tiny little orange pants, because I didn't expect this. I didn't expect
no one expects it.
Yeah, like,
it's coming.
With Bubba, that guy, he played, and I'm guessing this is why he was a policeman in this, but he was in Hill Street Blues, you know, the TV show Hill Street Blues, as a character called Bubba. So it was almost like they took a hit TV show, took one of the characters from that, and placed him as the same character. From Beyond. Yeah. Which I thought is quite. It's kind of like this is with George Clooney. They just kind of like took his character from ER and just stuck him in in the movies. But sorry, go on.
They stuck him in a Batman suit
cracking dumplings. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
What did you say?
He makes some like cracking dumplings. Like he cooks some like food, and he makes like a little.
So we're assuming he's just been hired to keep an eye on Crawford.
Yeah.
Make sure he doesn't, just run away, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty insane. He's got a lovely He's got a lovely varsity jacket on at one point. Is it a varsity jacket or is it like a American football jersey?
Yeah, I would call that like a varsity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just liked Detective Bubba Brownlee's whole aesthetic. I loved it. Yeah. I think the American football shirt was orange. He had the tiny orange pants. I was like, he knows what he's doing.
If you ever watch this film again, watch when he first sees the Resonator. His acting, because he doesn't say anything in the scene for a while. It's all Crawford, but like the way he's acting, he's doing a lot of eye acting. He's just like looking at Barbara and looking like it's really actually like interesting. Like just, and I feel like he must have come from the stage because like he was doing a lot of stage type acting. I thought
his eyes are really prominent though. They're like the most prominent part of his face. Yeah. So he knows exactly what he's doing. He's playing to his strengths. It's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, the film, so it starts. It gets going very quickly. I think Pretorius is in his bedroom doing something in his kimono, and then Crawford he's tinkering away. He's doing the hard work. I guess he's turning some knobs or something. He gets the resonator going, just as a evening resonate session. I don't know what you'd call that.
So the resonator is like a machine. So what would you say the resonator was? Is a machine that allows you to with a certain range.
Yeah,
it's load of tuning forks, but it allows whoever's within that range to see beyond normal perceptible reality, and also what
stimulates your pineal gland.
That's right. Yeah, and whatever you see in that reality, those beings can then see you.
Yeah.
If you don't move, apparently they can't see you. But the problem is if someone says don't move, for some reason in this film they can't stop moving.
Yeah.
Don't move. I'm trying. Oh, everyone's body popping.
I do find that idea of there being things in like a reality adjacent to ours, let's say, swimming around, and that I find that really creepy. There's a Joe Lansdale short story called Fish Story, which is a similar sort of idea. A guy kind of swims into another dimension, I guess, and then the creatures in that dimension, these fish, can suddenly see him and eat him. But there's something that really, really creeps me out about that concept. It's a great Lovecraftian idea, I guess.
But, I love Joe Lansdale, by the way. I love Joe Lansdale stuff.
Yeah, he's a bit of an idol, I think. Is he in your DMs at all?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I know him. I know him pretty well because like he's been on my podcast and
of course, on Jed Talks.
On Jed Talks, yeah. I am actually doing something with him, but I can't talk about it yet. but it's something cool.
I'm excited about that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited about everything.
He's got so many amazing stories that need adaptation, though.
Yeah.
But,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So Crawford,
that was ominous.
Can't talk about it yet, but yeah.
Crawford turns on the resonator. His pineal gland goes crazy. He sees a worm. The worm bites him on the cheek, gives him a little kiss. He turns the resonator off, and then he goes down to Pretorius and says, "Dude, something happened." And Pretorius doesn't seem to believe him, and he's like bleeding on his cheek.
Pretorius doesn't even care. Like he's bleeding out.
Yeah. And then Pretorius goes to turn it back on, I think.
Yeah.
And then
we and then there's like a neighbor with a dog called Bunny, and the dog just runs into their house, which is annoying. That would be annoying. Having to go into a stranger's house in the middle of the night, terrifying.
Yeah.
And so obviously everything that's happening with the resonator now is off screen, and we see that there's like a kerfuffle. Windows are smashing, bright lights are flashing.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused as to. I mean, before it cuts away, Pretorius does that, like it comes into his face, and he says, "It's coming." He does that thing, and then his head is missing in the next scene. It's the thing that takes Crawford's head off later on, because is that not Pretorius? I get confused as to what the actual thing is.
So it's so Pretorius's conscience melds with the creature that was already there, and like it's like he's now one with the creature. Yeah, I mean, like all Lovecraft things, there is no real answer. It's just very vague, and you just have to read between the lines. So you don't really know exactly what's going on or what these things really are. And,
When we see his body with the head off, that the dog's sniffing around, it looks like when you pull the head off an Action Man or a Barbie doll, which is like a little tiny little, just a little, just looks like his head's been squished rather than actually taken off. His head's just been squished into a tiny little ball, size of a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Unfortunate way to go, obviously.
And then Crawford is taken to a psychiatric place where there's a few people who just gone crazy, but then Catherine McMichaels, I don't know if she believes him. No, maybe she does believe him. She wants to go and see what he's talking about anyway.
Yeah, she seems to be interested in the whole pineal gland stuff.
Yeah, she's like, I don't have fluoride in my toothpaste. I don't drink tap water. She knows.
So we're meant to think that a few psychiatrists have been talking to Crawford and they've kind of not been able to get through to him, or they've not been able to help.
Yeah.
So he kind of dismisses her at some point. Said, "You're just another psychiatrist," as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then they decide to give him a CT scan, don't they?
And they see that his pineal gland is like grown. Yeah. And then
the pineal gland is ever so aroused right now.
Yeah.
Engorged.
And then I think he gets like let out under her supervision, basically.
Yeah.
With Bubba as well. I mean, they go to the house that's in the. I mean, where is the house? Where is the neighbor? There's no neighbors next to the house, is there? It's like it's a fully detached.
It's fully detached, but I mean, there's like a street across the way, isn't there? Because there's a couple of occasions where neighbors are sort of gathering outside.
Yeah.
Nosy. So yeah, obviously Crawford's in a bad way. He's completely against ever switching on the resonator again at this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like, stay away from it. I'm surprised he doesn't just go in there and just smash it into pieces, because I know he smashed one of the tuning forks off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So
he's
why
a scientist, though, isn't he? So he realizes his discovery is important to science. So it's hard to, even though you know it's kind of potentially evil, it's hard to smash up your own life's work.
Also, if you spent ages working on it, I don't want to smash this.
This has been hours. Yeah, but it's evil. It's really, people are dying because of it. Oh yeah, it took me ages.
Couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks of my life. So what is the reason that they reactivate it at this particular moment? Is it just for him to show
Just to
McMichaels?
prove, I think, that he's not mental.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he does, and Pretorius turns up, pretty much
That's
just
creepy.
in human
Yeah.
mode at this point, but maybe with a bit of KY jelly on him.
Yeah, it's a little bit monstrous. And he's just explaining to them like, oh, there's the wonders of this machine, like the stuff you can see. Very
Quite Barkery.
Hellraiser-y, yeah, of
Yeah.
like there's something else out there, like worlds you can see and all that jazz.
There's jazz out there.
Yeah.
Oh, jazz! I see.
Wouldn't
He looks
believe the
like
sounds I've
jazz as
heard.
well.
Yeah. That's a cool. I think it's a really cool visual, though. He's in the shadows. He kind of walks, and he's got a great voice. I've got to say that guy has got a cracking voice.
He does. Yeah.
But his very slopey shoulder, very squidgy shoulder. I think
No kimono either.
no kimono.
Very squidgy. Oh yeah, because he says to Crawford, "Come and touch me," because he doesn't believe he's real.
If anyone ever says that, who's just appeared and they're supposed to be dead, and
Yeah.
they've appeared and their voice is like got a load of reverb on it for some reason, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't touch him, and he's made of plasticine, like a Wallace and Gromit character, and he just kind of like, yeah, it's not pleasant, is it? And what they do, Crawford pretty much panics straight away, and just turns off the machine and just says, I mean, it's quite handy in terms of the horrors of things when you could just switch it off and make it go away. That's quite nice.
Did he get attacked at that point when he first turned it on?
No, I don't think so. I think just Barbara Crampton just realizes this is all messed up. So
oh well, of course, his face just completely starts melting away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why they turn it off, because they just go, "This isn't.
Oh yeah,
This isn't pleasant at all."
This is
There's
not-
a few stages of this makeup effect which are really good. Just when he's gone full green and leaky is probably the most striking visual there.
I mean, just as when I say this film has some of the best practical effects, like just some of the most fun practical effects that you'll see. Yeah, I don't know if that comment about being the most practical effects, it's not completely off base. There is a lot going on in this film, but
there's a lot of practical effects where I just go, how? Which I think is great.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you want
later
from practical effects.
Pretorius' face is like talking, and I don't know how to do it because his neck is really long. So how have they put his head?
I don't know if just out of shot his neck is there. I don't know.
I don't know.
Baffled.
But Brian Yuzna, like who produced this, he is very he comes from the world of special effects, and that's how we got to direct and produce movies, because like his practical effects are just so good. I wish he did more movies actually, but he didn't direct too many things. But yeah, his work's incredible.
Yeah, it's really, really fun to see. Fun and gooey, sticky, melty. So they turn the machine off, and then I think that's when they have some dumplings.
Yeah, they have a lovely bit of dinner, and they just sort of have a bit of a debate around the dinner table as well. And we can already see that Catherine is starting to be drawn to it for whatever reason. Whether it's sort of like based on what Pretorius said, the fact that everything he's seen, and that she's kind of just curious about it like that.
Yeah, and she thinks that like the machine can help help psychiatric patients. That's kind of her main thing, because she's all about the pineal gland and how that can affect people's sanity. So yeah, she wants to kind of use the machine to experiment with that side of things.
Because wasn't it a member of her family? Was it her dad that had been diagnosed and sort of
a bad pineal gland?
Yeah. He had a really achy pineal gland.
Yeah, it really hurt.
Didn't know what
it
to
hurt
do.
when it rained. It's like, oh.
Apparently he turned into a vegetable, and she couldn't help him. She wants to find.
Can't help people like that.
Yeah,
just completely turned into a vegetable.
Yeah, exactly. Pineal does sound like a type of pesto, though, doesn't it? Like,
I think I've had
really
pineal at
craving a
some
bit
point.
of pineal right now.
yeah.
Yeah, so they're all sleeping. It's the next morning or something, and Catherine sneaks into the attic to turn it back on. Is I get confused. They turn it on a lot. To say it's really bad news, they do turn it on a fair few times. What happens on this one?
So Pretorius comes back again, of course. I don't think anyone was surprised by that. Yeah, and he's just even more like messed up.
Yeah.
And that becomes
So-
a theme.
So the scene we
Yeah.
kind of see is him sort of facing away at this moment, isn't it? When he kind of turns back around and he's kind of turning into a dumpling at this stage. They've eaten dumplings. He's turning into a big, fleshy.
Yeah, it's a nice motif.
Yeah, exactly.
And he gets strangly long fingers, right? I think his
Yes.
fingers extend, and then they go down somewhere.
Yeah,
downtown.
they get really stretchy, and yeah, and like this, and then Crawford kind of is there also, and Pretorius just tries to kill him and Catherine, because I don't know when the change happened, but it went from him being a creature just appreciated, like seeing other worlds, to him being Pretorius being a creature that wants to eat human brains. It was quite a quick transition from like being like a Cenobite into like being a cannibal, basically.
Yeah.
So he wants to just like basically eat Barbara Crampton.
Yeah. And he's got his pineal glands now wiggling around, I think.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Poking
It's
out.
coming out.
Oh, and
I
there's
think
a giant worm in the basement.
Yeah. which is great.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah, so this is that moment. Crawford runs out and he's going to go down into the basement and disconnect the power so that the resonator switches off. And that's when Bubba obviously hears a bit of a commotion and thinks he's trying to escape. So he leaps out of his bedroom and just
Shoves him down the
completely
stairs.
spears Crawford down the stairs. This was where it was. I mean, it was going full crazy, and I loved it. Was the fact that we've got like a giant worm in the basement. The basement was full of water.
Yeah.
And there's bright lights and just electrical sparks everywhere. And what does Bubba do? Does Bubba start shooting the worm at this point as well?
Does he?
He tried to shoot Pretorius at some point. I think he used all his bullets on that. I think he just attacks. Maybe there's an axe involved at this point. I'm not too sure.
There is an axe.
He has a bit of a wrestling match with it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it swallows Crawford.
Yeah, so pretty much at the same time, the worm is swallowing Crawford, and Pretorius is doing something to Catherine upstairs.
Yeah.
So they're both being sort of like affected by the creatures from the other reality
dimension type thing. Yeah.
Dimension, yeah. So
yeah,
but they do manage to
got
switch it
pretty
off,
bad,
don't they?
Yeah.
It just keeps going. That machine keeps going on and off, on and off, on and off. Like you would just think they would just smash it, right? They've had plenty of opportunity to just like smash it, but like
it's weird how easy. I mean, you could do it. You could break. They broke a tuning fork. They broke the power cables, and it still worked. I mean, it's durable. They've made something that's very durable.
It's true.
It also ripped his hair off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's immediately bald. Oh, dude. I mean, it doesn't always happen that fast, but you know, it does happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, he looks like you've seen Powder. It's like a guy who can control electricity or something. He looks a bit like Powder.
Yeah.
He looks like you can tell he's got a bowl cap on because his head is just such a strange. It's almost such a strange. I mean, I know that kind of plays into what's happening. Is he's got a big engorged head with the pineal gland coming out, but it just looks like a guy with a bowl cap on, and they haven't quite slicked his hair back.
Yeah. And I think is this the point that Bubba dies? Like Bubba gets killed, he gets eaten.
Yeah, it comes on again. Oh, because the power cables somehow come and reattach themselves.
Well,
Yeah.
Bubba initially said they're all going to leave, doesn't he? So I think Crawford's bold and unwell. Bubba's like, "Come on, we got to get out of here." And this is when like Barbara Crampton's Catherine has sort of like a bit of a sexual awakening. I wasn't sure what you kind of thought of this, whether it was like because she'd seen the videos of Pretorius before, so that had kind of like implanted something in her brain.
Yeah.
And then when she'd come face to face with him and the Resonator, it kind of brought his sort of sexual into I wasn't sure what you made of it. I was a bit like, I don't know where it's come from or where it's supposed to be.
It comes from nowhere, to be. I think it's just because it's the 80s and they just wanted to have someone being sexy in a kind of.
We need someone to be sexy. Then Jeffries, I'm here.
Well, my chopped liver, like I'm here in a bald cap and.
I'll take my top off. No, it's okay, Jeff. No, I'll take it off.
So she puts on like some sort of like kinky leather gear. She gets kink shamed a couple of times. I think Bubba sort of turns her around and looks they look in the mirror and he says like, "Is this what you want? Is this who you are?" And she gets kink shamed by like the nurse later on as well. They just go like, "Look at the state of her. What's she wearing?"
Yeah. But yeah, those images of her in that get up, like they always get put on Twitter and stuff. They are quite iconic.
In the letterbox thing, like the banner thing at the top, you think it could be the monsters, could be some of the gooey special effects. No, it's Barbara Crampton.
Is that true? Honestly. Talk amongst yourself while I check that out.
How does Barbara Crampton feel about that though? Is she kind of proud of that?
Yeah,
I mean, I would
so.
be. I'm sure she would be.
Oh yeah, it is that. Yeah, it's just her in a leather get up. I think she's fine with it. Like, it's I think she's come to terms with the fact that she is known for those type of films. And I obviously I speak to Barbara every week, but like we Zoom quite a lot as well. Actually, me and Barbara, and she's just got a head. She's just very switched on. Very, very, very switched on, and she's always trying to help other people. She's always trying to help other actors who are of a similar kind of era as her. She wants them to kind of like do more stuff as well. So she's always trying to create projects to give other actors work as well. She's such an incredible person, like really, really, and she's always trying to give new filmmakers a chance, and like she's willing to work if a new person's coming along and has made something or wants to make something cool, she's willing to help out, star in it. She doesn't do
awesome.
She's just really cool.
Seems very involved with fans as well.
Yeah, very much
social media.
Yeah, everyone loves Barbara. She's just so cool, really cool.
Yeah.
But this is when Bubba gets eaten by flies. I don't understand what happens because the flies come out of the
Resonator switches itself on, doesn't it? It attaches it, all the sort of wires and stuff plug back in.
Happens to me.
It becomes sentient.
Like I do love this film, but like the deaths are just interesting because I always think the deaths should mean something, but like I don't think his death actually. It was almost like pointless, like him dying. Like I feel like he should have been one of the ones to survive till the end, almost.
It was almost just to do the really cool effect.
Do the gag
of his death. Because obviously there aren't many characters in this movie, and obviously there's only 3 of them in the house. So it seemed like he just drew the short straw and.
So it turned Resonator on. The flies come out. Oh, the bees. I couldn't tell. I don't think they were even. I think they were like rice. They were just like. It was. But he's shining the torch on them, and I think that's getting them off. But then the torch goes back onto him. He drops it. It points right at him, and for some reason the flies are suddenly like, "Let's get it."
Attracted to it. I don't understand why. Does it move out the way of the beam of the light? He's like, "Oh, it's got me now. That's it. That's it. All right, hands up."
And off.
It is strange. And they just eat him completely. It's
and then it's just the head through a hole in the floor and then some random bones. Still.
He looks like
looks good.
he looks like the carcass of a chicken, like on after a Sunday roast, which nobody wants to go and have to deal with. You know, throw it away, whatever you're gonna have to do with it. Just there on the kitchen side. He looks like that, and it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate way for him to go. And a lovely American football jersey ruined.
Yeah.
I would have worn that.
I think. So this one, Pretorius has kind of mutated even more now. Now he's got the long neck. I think maybe he's got wings at this point. Maybe that's a bit later. I'm not too sure. But this is when Crawford goes through his awakening, and his pineal gland pops out to say hello. And
but he still has a bit of control over himself, and
the pineal gland. I tell you what, it really grossed me out. Actually, you know, like in maybe the next scene. Dr. Block is trying to grab it with the tweezers, and it's like bobbing in and out. I thought that's really freaky.
It's like playing with it. It comes out like all right, and then she goes to grab it. And it goes, oh no.
Yeah.
So Catherine manages to short circuit the machine by spraying it like with a fire extinguisher, doesn't she?
Oh yeah.
And that's how like it essentially gets switched off for that final time.
Yeah.
Well, not the final time, but you know what I mean. Final time in this scene. And that's when they all go to the hospital. That's when the nurse is trying to get the pineal gland. What's she going to do with it? Does she yank it out?
Well, it shouldn't be in. Well, put it back in, I guess.
It shouldn't be in there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think you just go, I'm going to leave it. Because
I'd put plaster on the top.
Yeah.
Just like a couple of bits of tape.
But
Stitches, surely.
I do like all the stuff because, like, obviously, like it's almost turned the tables on her because, like, she was the one who was like the psychiatric doctor, and now she's the patient, which I think is kind of cool. So it's nice art for her.
How would you explain your get-up though? Like you just turned up and you just go, all right, I am in the kinky leather gear, but I've got a little house coat over the top. It's all right. Don't you worry about it.
Dead bodies everywhere, and like there really was monsters, I promise. And I
mean, look at the guy's head. I'm not lying.
That's the only...
for that. You saw him yesterday.
He had hair.
He didn't have a pineal gland popping out of his forehead.
Coming out of an anus in his forehead.
That is true, yeah.
The film has kind of got a weird flow to the film. I mean, we're kind of building up through to the third act now, and it takes a weird turn. There's like another like sub story with Jeffrey Crawford. He likes to eat brains through eyeballs, but only when his pineal gland is sticking out. So he sort of goes around the hospital. He does it probably the nurse who's trying to help him. She catches him eating brains. And he goes, "Oh no, what have I done? This is disgusting." And then he goes to her, and then he knees her really hard in the stomach, and her eyeball pops out. He spits it to the floor like a peanut shell or something.
Yeah.
And then sucks the brain out, I imagine.
Sucks the brain straight out of her head. It's pretty disgusting.
Pretty brutal.
Catherine manages to escape because she's like she's tied down, and while this is all kicking off, the doctor who's about to, I don't know, just give her like electric shock treatment or something.
Oh yeah.
He gets distracted, and she manages to smash him in the head and escape in a van. But Crawford goes after her, and he sort of sees her escaping, and he follows after her. I guess on foot. I don't know if he gets the bus.
Well, she bites off Crawford's pineal gland, right? She's like, and like, so he can't. His powers are kind of waning a little bit.
When does she? When does it? So it bites. She bites it off when he gets to the house, though, right?
Yeah.
So the resonator's back on. And I guess he's trying to eat her brain now, isn't he? She bites the pineal gland, which I quite liked. It kind of looks like
but it's good writing, like because like obviously he's after her brain. She kind of like eats something from his head instead. So it's quite clever in some ways.
When she bites the pineal gland, it looks like she's eating a pepperami.
Yeah. Oh, it's all very pepperami-esque, yeah.
Which, if anything, just made me crave a pepperami. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that did. That part did for me.
And by the way, this entire film, up until this point, I think it's really well shot. Like the lighting is outstanding. It's it kind of looks like the more recent movies, like the Color Out of Space or like Mandy. It has like pinks and these purples.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stuart Gordon he pioneered a lot of that 80s aesthetics.
I wonder if that because when we think of H.P. Lovecraft's color now, I kind of feel like we do go to that purpley pinky kind of color. I wonder if it comes from
Definitely came
from
from
this.
Yeah, this a little bit of Reanimator as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
How similar is this? Is this film like beat for beat similar to? Well, obviously set in a completely different era, the Lovecraft story. But I was just wondering how similar it was.
Well,
to...
I listened to not so long ago actually. I listened to a reading of the Lovecraft story. It's very similar. It is very similar, but obviously this has just done it for gore. There's a lot more gore in this, and a lot more sexy times. But like it's roughly the same story.
Yeah.
Torius and Crawford and their relationship, and
I mean, it does feel very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
So it's the big showdown now. I think he turns into a flying monster, chases Crawford down the stairs. Oh, and then twists his head off like taffy.
Yeah.
Just sort of spins it off.
And
so then
eats his brain as well, right?
Well, I think he just eats whatever, head and all.
Eat whatever's left. I'll eat it all, brain.
I think the idea is that he's kind of absorbed him, right?
Yeah.
So now Catherine's sort of defenseless, and then I think he's about to eat Catherine or do something to Catherine, and then Crawford climbs out with hair.
I've completely.
So that's how you get hair back.
With hair.
He's reverted back to his original. Yeah.
Get absorbed by an interdimensional being. And then eventually your hair follicles.
That's what they do at the
regrow.
Belgravia Centre in London, I think.
Yeah, they don't let you know what happens through the door. That's what happens.
Yeah, you pass out and then do the whole ritual. Get the resonator going.
Feed you a couple of pepper armies. You're ready to go. Also, randomly, Catherine, what's with the bomb?
Oh yeah.
Where did the bomb come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just had it in her handbag.
Just a hobby she's got on the side.
Yeah.
Stuff.
But it's a good way to end the movie if you can't think of an ending, just blow stuff up. So she's like, okay.
And a countdown during the final showdown is always good. Yeah.
So imagine there's a really great moment because Pretorius and Crawford are kind of having a battle on a plane of existence and flesh that we humans don't quite understand. Yeah. But there's like a little skull that pops out of the mush and it screams and it's got Crawford's voice and it looks so funny to me. And they're kind of like attacking and they're snapping at each other. Oh, a tentacle grabs Catherine's foot and then the other puppet is like biting the tentacle to get off. Catherine jumps out of the window.
Yeah,
just before it explodes and blows up,
and then her like bones sticking out of her leg and everything. And it's not really a true Lovecraft story if it doesn't end with someone reduced to like a blithering boob of a person.
There is just a moment there where she looks at something, mad laughter, tears. Yeah. What did she say? Did she say it ate him?
It ate him.
We missed a good line earlier. Jeffrey Coombs says it ate his head like a gingerbread man.
Oh yeah. Delicious.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and then that's it really. That's how it ends.
Yeah. So I've got what we like to call the name game, Jed. I'm going to read out a synopsis for a film that is very similar to From Beyond, and you have to tell me what the name of the film is, and the name will rhyme with From Beyond. That's quite important.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's not that wow. You'll see. Okay, so number one. So there's some film I watched. It's about a group of scientists that have developed a resonator. It enables them to see a dimension beyond no perceptible reality, But when the experiment succeeds, they are immediately attacked by large white birds. Do you know what that one's called?
Hold on.
Large white birds.
Yeah, the Queen likes them.
I got it. Swan Beyond?
Swan Beyond. Jed's
I do
right.
this every week, and I never ever get good at it.
I'm
What is
straight
wrong
in
with
there.
my brain?
So-
What's wrong with my brain?
Didn't miss a beat. You need to work on your pineal gland, mate. Do some reps. So this is one I watched. Is about a group of scientists. They turn on a resonator, and it allows them to travel inside their computer and play sports games in neon lights with Jeff Bridges.
Tron Beyond.
From Beyond. Well done.
Our pineal glands were
Yeah, we're intertwined.
intertwined there.
Hugged like that.
So what I watched was about a resonator machine. They turn it on, and they're immediately attacked by Rupert Grint, who's fully in character from the Harry Potter films.
Run Beyond.
From Beyond. Right, now we're going up a level. It's getting more difficult. Group scientists turn on a resonator, and when they turn it on, they see a Chinese takeaway delivery driver who gives them little crispy parcels with meat fillings.
One Ton Yond.
Wow, crispy wonton beyond.
That was
The last
impossible.
one.
That was impossible, right?
It's quite possible
Got them.
compared to some of the other ones. I mean, it's Lovecraftian, you could say that question.
Okay, that's true.
Okay, so this last one, it's about a group of scientists. They turn on a resonator, and it enables them to see a reality beyond, and they're immediately attacked, not by Robin Hood, but by one of his merry men,
Little John Beyond.
Little John Beyond. Well done, Jet. I've got to say, you are really
Yeah.
good at this.
You made
Yeah,
me
that's my
Practice
kind-
at home. Oh,
That's my kind of humour. That is exactly my kind of humour. Funnily enough, yeah.
Little John Beyond. I'd like to see that film, actually.
Yeah.
So we like to end the episode, but I've just got to say you did exceptionally well. No, we get a lot of people on this show. A lot of people do not click onto what we're doing until at least question 4 or 5.
I know. I'm straight in there, yeah. And that's my sense of humour. Just stupid.
There are moments usually when, Luke, to be fair, Luke, you were pretty on the ball this week. They're all very good.
Thank you.
Occasionally I struggle, and there's like this awkward silence where me and the guest are usually very trying to just process it. I can always hear the cogs turning, but yeah, they're all very good. So well done, both of you.
Thank you very much. So we like to end the episode just rating the film. We normally give it between an A to F kind of grading. Would there be something you'd be leaning towards, do you think, Jed?
Me, I would say this is a B minus, but because Barbara's in it, I want to go B plus. It's not Reanimator. It's not the best Barbara Crampton movie, but I like it very much. So I would say B plus.
Cool. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I was going to go for B plus as well. Definitely prefer Reanimator, but as a Stuart Gordon, H.P. Lovecraft, another combination of those is very, very good. And Barbara Crampton is great in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree on all fronts that I put a B down. What I would say is if you haven't seen it and you like Hellraiser, Reanimator, any of those kind of 80s films, this should be on your kind of to watch list. It's kind of necessary because it does have all that lovely gore and goopiness and dirtiness that I think is really appreciated by me, people like that. So yeah, B. And we have come to the end of the episode. Yeah, is there anything you want to say? Anywhere you want to send people?
You can find me on Twitter at Jed Shepherd, JedShepherd. My podcast is called Jed Talks. Check it out, JED Talks, where I interview mostly people from horror movies and stuff. I'm on Clubhouse. Just type in horror, and then you'll find my Clubhouse. And you can contribute to the Kickstarter for Ghosts. It's go to Kickstarter, just type in Ghosts, you'll find it. There's all types of things you can buy the game, you can buy various different things. The collector's edition's like awesome, got tons of cool stuff in there. But on my Twitter, you'll see my announcement video where I announced the game like 5 days ago, which is really cool. watch
That's
hosts.
a cool video as well. It's worth watching the announcement video. It's really good.
Definitely.
Yeah, I thought if I'm going to announce this, I want to like make a bit of an effort. So got the girls from Host to like say something, and then the little like scare at the end, little stunt at the end.
I must also say I really do like the Ghost logo as well.
It is
cool.
good.
It's really good because when you think I'm going to do a logo of a ghost, you kind of go in one direction or another. But it's really good. It's really good and simple.
Cool.
And that's
Thanks.
great.
Yeah, and that's on like their uniforms they wear as well. But
in red and black and white as well. That's love that stuff.
Exactly. That's my thing going forward. All my stuff's going to be that color scheme, so it's from me straight away. But yeah,
we'll put all these links. We'll put all these links in the show notes as well, so it'll be easy for everyone to just link directly to all this stuff. You were just about to say watch Host as well.
Oh yeah, definitely watch Host. Most people already have, but if you haven't, it's on Shudder. You can buy it on Amazon and iTunes and stuff. And
John Carpenter, if you're listening, please watch Host if you haven't already.
I bet he's watched it now. I bet he's watched it. But and then we've got our first Blumhouse movie, which we've already shot. That'll come out some point this year. Let's see if we can do it again. Pull the same trick twice.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. Oh yeah, amazing.
Cool. If you enjoyed this episode, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. Thanks to Kovac Kalman for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing. And thanks to my co-host Ben for being a right horror dude. And thanks once again to the amazing Jed Shepherd.
Cheers, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jed. It's been a pleasure.
It's fun.